That's why I'm oversharing now.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth.
Good morning and welcome to this weekend. I did not vlog this past week, so I feel like I'm new at this again. Hello, missed ya. Maybe we'll talk about the past week, maybe we won't, I don't know. But what I do know is that I am excited to make a weekend vlog. It's been a little second, and as is everyone on YouTube, I think right now, this may be kind of like a little cozy fall weekend type thing going on. I don't know exactly what we'll get up to, but I do know probably watch some Gilmore Girls, I'm gonna make some pumpkin bread, gonna work on my puzzle that's sitting right here. I don't know how I made it to this weekend. Like the last week felt so long, but I did make it to this weekend, and that is what matters. I just wanted to say hello, kind of get going on things. Hope you're doing well. Missed ya over this past week when I didn't vlog. We'll get into that later.
I can take what I need to get by. It doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. If I could take you back to my youth and show you what I wish I knew. My will is strong with a place to lean. In the moment I hung desperately. The other ring on my wrist is gold, pairing with the light it holds. When I return from my skin and bones, I'm remembering the words you told me.
You get a little different angle of our office space right now because I'm sitting at Zach's desk because my puzzle is still over there on mine. Happy Sunday. As you can see, Saturday was pretty inactive, but I mean, it was good. Like I watched so many episodes of Gilmore Girls and made a lot of progress on that 1,000-piece puzzle. What I did not do was like get up and out of the apartment at all, touch grass, breathe fresh air. I also didn't do many like productive things, but I mean, it was fine. And I have today for that. So in a little bit, I'm gonna make a little to-do list just to make sure that whatever needs to get done in the weekends can get done in the weekends. Because I've learned that it's best for myself to not put off like little chore things in the week, and that getting them done on the weekends, even though sometimes it can be time consuming, also ends up being better. Something I did want to talk about just a little bit. I was kind of talking about just like mental health recently. And the reason that my hair just fell out of its braid. That's why things just changed back there. The reason that I kind of want to chat on this is just the fact that like now it kind of is affecting my YouTube, and it didn't really necessarily used to, and also because I am trying something new. So I figure sometimes I feel more comfortable like going through things and then reflecting on them, and also sometimes I feel like I'm hiding something like if I don't talk about it in the moment. So this is just kind of one of those things that I figure it's probably beneficial to be open about, especially because sometimes things like this can help other people feel seen or feel normalized or less stigma, you know, all of that. But honestly, my mental health has really been struggling lately to a different extent than I've ever felt before. I always have had just like a kind of persistent low mood kind of going on. This is kind of my baseline, and like that kind of sucks, but also that's just like my baseline for years and years. But lately that has been getting harder to cope with, coming from someone that has like really strong coping skills. And I think part of that comes from being like a mental health professional, is that I am able to build habits. Like I know strategies, and that really can get you far, but can't always get you like all of the way, I feel like, in coping and like kind of kind of fixing the mood, and it's just gotten to a point where I've had like really low days where I honestly just feel super sad. And that's, I would say, probably like the past 3 weeks has been like that, where not every single day, and it's not like, oh, I've been putting on like a face for the camera or anything. Like I still have energy come throughout the days and things like that. It's still like more been like in the evenings, which I don't usually vlog during anyways, but it's been like in the evenings. It's just been like hard to get through. And I mean, I don't know why now. Like it could just be something biological going on. It also could be kind of how we've talked about before about like the dust settling from so many life changes happening, and that like now the dust has settled, and so it gives me a chance to actually think on and like feel my feelings. I just am like, I cannot feel this way and function. And that's kind of a line that like once you cross of like, I cannot function when I'm feeling this way, that it is time to take like an extra step in getting some sort of support or some sort of help. And so for me, what that looks like is that this upcoming week, I am actually going to a very first therapy session. Again, coming from a mental health professional, like I have given therapy, I have been a therapist, and I've never actually like sought out professional mental health help for myself. And I think a big part of that is because I have been able to like successfully self-cope. And even if I had like ups and downs in my mental health, like I could get through it. And just to be totally honest, like the past few weeks, this is not living, and I feel like I'm in such a good time of life and such like special years and being young and in my 20s and everything that I feel like I'm like missing out on what could be like really great time of life by being sad. So starting therapy feels like a very big like deal for me because I never have before, and it's kind of funky having been on the other side of it, now being on this side of it. Tuesday is my first session, but the journey to find a therapist feels overwhelming because oh my goodness, there's so many. What I ended up doing to find the person that I'm going to that I hope I'm gonna like we had a little 15-minute screening call, and it seems like I'll like her, but through my employer we have like an employee assistance program where you can get 6 sessions that are just covered entirely, 100% covered, which is honestly what kind of made me get over the hump to do this, because it's free for the first 6 sessions, but it's a certain list of people that participate in that program. And so I went through that list until I found somebody that I felt like kind of vibed with me. And then once those 6 sessions are over, and I think it's 6 per year, I could be wrong on that, I think it's 6 per year. Once those 6 sessions are over, she's in network with my insurance, and so it's actually going to be a lot cheaper than I thought it was. I think I thought that therapy would be this like huge financial burden, and like it can be expensive for sure, and I don't know it yet at this point if I'm gonna go weekly or bi-weekly. She said kind of after the first session she'll get more of a gauge of like if she has a recommendation of if I do weekly or bi-weekly, but I figure since it's my first time I might as well just dive in. I'm kind of counting on weekly to start with. So 6 free sessions, and then she's in network with my insurance, so I mean it'll cost a little something, but it's not gonna like be putting me out of meals to go to therapy, which I think I just used to think, or maybe it was an excuse honestly, that I thought it would just be so expensive. Honestly, what like brought this about, and again, it could be oversharing, I don't know, but hopefully just, I don't know, putting your life on the internet, you can control what people see and what people don't see, and I think it just started to feel inauthentic to me for you to not see this whenever I'm going through this. So that's why I'm oversharing now. But whenever I had my doctor's appointment a few weeks ago at this point, I was honest with her during the time about like how I've been feeling and you know the little screening questions they do and everything, and she had maybe not suggested but like let me know of an option that I could start taking antidepressants. And for me personally, I just didn't feel like I wanted to do that step before having done the therapy step, and so there is a high chance that I could do the therapy step and that my therapist also recommends like there's something going on biologically in your head that you need help with that could be supported more through like an SSRI than just through therapy. But I didn't want to do SSRIs without the talk therapy element, so that could be in the future, I don't know. But all of this to say, that's just kind of something that I'm prepping for coming into the upcoming week. This is a weekend vlog, so I'll try to do a week vlog, but I did have a lot of like October video ideas that I was really excited about that I don't know if I'll be able to pull off anymore. And I think part of that is the fact that I had been functioning so highly with the way I had been feeling, and like I hadn't been letting balls drop, like I'd been able to, you know, have motivation and push through and everything. And something about that has changed where it's just become a lot harder to do things. Like my motivation has just been shot. Cannot do anything. And there's still good days and bad days with that, but I did not do like the 3 videos this past week that I was like planning on and excited for. And we'll see if those types of videos are still able to come in the upcoming weeks, but that's kind of why this is a little weekend vlog, a little filler video for the Sunday. I'm gonna make my to-do list though. It's early. Well, it's 9. I mean, that's still early, but I feel like I have a lot to do today. But I think it'll feel better once I have it all written down, because then I can actually tell if I have a lot to do today or not.
Hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all. I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone.
So I am going to get back out and run for the first time by myself today since I did my half marathon. As you may know, that was something that I did from like April to August, was regularly running, and honestly I do think that it was something that was so good for me, and I think it's totally fair. Like after my half marathon I was like, okay, I'm done with running for a little bit, and I think that is totally fine to be done with running, but I've kind of been waiting for the inspiration, I feel like, to kind of come back to me, and as I've mentioned, the inspiration to do much of anything lately has been gone, so I think I kind of need to tough love myself a little bit and just get into something again that was so good for me whenever I was doing it before. So I have run a couple of times only with like Run Club, and I haven't gone back out and actually just like run by myself since mid-August at this point. I'm not like officially half marathon training again yet, but maybe it's gonna come soon. We'll see about that. I have probably like a month to decide. But something that's exciting with that is that I got new shoes, and the reason for this being truly is that the Hoka's that I wore, that I trained for the entire half marathon in rotation with the New Balances, but my like everyday running shoe is pretty worn out by now because it's done a lot of miles, and what's even more run out is my like everyday shoe. It's a pair of Hoka's that I got last August, and I have worn them probably every day for so long. Like I worked out in them from last August till now. Like every walk that I go on's been in them. I've been wearing them to work. They are so dead. They need to be disposed of. Multiple layers of the heel have just like I have worn through them. I have put them to good use. So what I'm gonna do is make those white Hoka's that I used to run in now be kind of like the everyday shoe. Which this is a totally new shoe to me and a new brand to me, but I got the Saucony Endorphin Speed 3s. And these are shoes that whenever I got the gait analysis at the running store, these were like the backup kind of. Like I didn't end up buying them at that time because I wanted to get the other ones, but these were the other ones that they were like, this works well for you. And these are more fit for like everyday running. One thing that kind of makes me nervous is how beautifully white they are, because I think it looks so cool, and I didn't really like any of the colored options that they had. But I mean, running outside, like road running, shoes are not gonna stay like this. Also, these have such good reviews, but this feels like styrofoam. Like, can you hear that? That very much feels like styrofoam. Honestly, looking at them, like I had thought that this was the shoe that the running store said, and it kind of looks different. But it's also been some months, and these are like highly rated regardless. So I will try them out today. Yeah, so I think that my goal today is to do 4 miles, which is kind of a lofty goal for not having run in however many weeks it's been. But I think I'll just turn on a Nike Run Club guided run, and we'll take it so super slow. Like I'm just really counting on it being really super slow, and maybe it'll feel therapeutic or something, but I'll definitely, you know, be out getting fresh air and everything. Something that I want to do different when incorporating running into my fitness routine now is to not just entirely drop weightlifting like I did before. So I don't know yet how I'm going to work those two in together, but I know that today I'm gonna do chest and triceps, so it'll push day because that's just kind of what I was planning on doing anyways. And then after lifting, maybe we'll bring like a little snack or something and then go and run. So we'll see. I don't have it all figured out yet. The other thing I wanted to show you are some books. I filmed an unboxing for this, I think it was last Monday, and just like I deleted the footage right after I took it because it was not good. It was no fun. I looked a mess. My energy level was down on the floor. It just was a really hard night for me, and that reflected in the video. So I was like, not the time to do a book unboxing. So now they're already unboxed, but I still want to show you what I got. This I mentioned in some recent vlog. I don't remember which recent vlog but these books are from Book Outlet, which is an online store. I don't know exactly how they work. They are used books, but they end up being pretty cheap, and you can like rack up rewards and get discounts. And by pretty cheap, I mean it cost me $45 to get these 7 books, 2 of which are hardback. I did look into it because I wasn't sure whenever I made that previous video whenever I ordered these, but with a referral link you get $5 off your first order from Book Outlet as long as it's $25 or more. So I will put that referral link down in the description. I don't know what I get from it, to be honest with you, so if you have a different friend that uses Book Outlet, feel free to use their referral link, but you just need a referral link from someone to get the $5 off. But a lot of these are books I'm really excited for. Let's see, I'll start with this one because I have already read it, but I did get a copy of Frederick Buckman Beartown because I loved this book so much, and honestly this is a really nice copy of it. I wish it didn't have, this is like printed on the cover, I wish it didn't have that, but it's a very nice copy of it. And I just imagine that at some point in my life I maybe want to reread Beartown or like force people around me to read it, and this was so beautiful, so I got that one. I got Golden Girl by Ellen Hildebrand, which I actually got Ellen Hildebrand's most recent book from the library this past week, sometime recently, and that's my like next read that I'm planning to do, which I am planning, and as we know sometimes plans don't happen, but I am planning to do an October reading vlog like I did in August. So I'm going to start with the Ellen Hildebrand. It's not a new release anymore, it came out in like May. I read a lot of her backlisted books that she's published over the years, but not yet all of them, and Golden Girl is one that I have not read. I didn't plan to do the sticker removal just now, but consider the sticker removed. There we go. I don't know what Golden Girl is about. I don't even know when it was published by her, but Ellen Hildebrand books are like on Nantucket. She does really well like developing characters and telling stories from multiple characters, different points of views, and there's a lot on just like human relationships of like all different kinds of relationships, whether romantic or best friends or even just like acquaintances or community relationships or sister relationships, like whatever it may be. So I don't even know if I'm going to read the summary of this one before reading it, but you just gotta hold on to an Ellen Hildebrand for a rainy day, you know? I got Dial A for Aunties. I always hear people say Dial A for Aunties, and I feel like it rolls off the tongue more to say aunties, but I've always grown up saying aunt. So like, you know, my aunts and uncles. I've never said aunt or called my family members auntie, but I'm pretty sure Dial A for Aunties feels right for this title. This one again is one that I've heard people talk about. I just never actually read myself, but I'm pretty sure what it is that our main character goes on a blind date, and whether she ends up like killing her blind date or it's like an accidental death, but she's the only person around, I'm not sure, but her blind date ends up dead, and she calls in her aunties to help her out. And so I think it's just kind of like a fun, maybe not like cozy mystery because like you know exactly what happened, I think, but not like gruesome thriller. It's just that like he's dead and now I have to deal with it. But I've heard that it's funny, so again, hold on to that for when I need it. This book I've seen on pretty much like everybody's lists on TikTok, I feel like is where I usually see it. That's like books every girl in her early 20s needs to read, and it's this. And so I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I need to read it since I'm in my early 20s. But Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton, and then like on the cover you can see it has like parties crossed out, dates, friends, jobs, life, and then it just ends up being love. So I've heard mixed things from people in my life that actually have read it, but I figured either I'll read it and it'll change my life and I'll love it, or I'll read it, think it's just fine, and end up selling it back to a used bookstore, you know? It's nonfiction though. And then I got, and this honestly is the worst like condition of a book that I've ever gotten from Book Outlet. Usually it's as if they're new, like there's nothing wrong with them at all. This one's a little crinkly, has some like adhesive stickers. It kind of looks like it used to be a library book because it has an adhesive like rectangle right there and then right here too. So I feel like it used to be part of the library, but I don't know that for sure. But I got Part of Your World by a.bea.s because I've heard so many things about it, especially with Yours Truly having come out recently too. I forget what this one is about, but it's a romance. People say it's good. It's been on my list for a long time to read it, but it still has so many like holds on the library that I just haven't been able to get my hands on it. So I just decided to bite the bullet and actually purchase it for cheap though. And then another hardcover. If you watched my August reading vlog, you would have seen me read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and that was my first Christina Lauren book. This is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren, and honestly I forget. I know I've heard what the summary is. I forget what the summary actually is of it, but I just wanted to read another Christina Lauren book since I really like Love and Other Words, and this one ended up being a hardback as well. And then lastly but not leastly, I got Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This has won the Coretta Scott King Award. It is a fantasy, I believe, possibly YA fantasy, possibly not, but I've been wanting for a long time, like even just in like 2023, have been wanting to expand my palette with fantasies. I read ACOTAR back in February. I'll finish that series eventually, which I know is kind of like an entry level fantasy. I mean, I read the Harry Potter books, those are fantasy, but but I feel like that's different than other fantasies just because like I already know the Harry Potter world. But I feel like there's not much fantasy that I read that's like not just like magical realism in a book or something like that. It's gonna be funny now if I'm like totally mistaken and this isn't even fantasy. Let me see. I think it is. But regardless, it's an award winner, so it'll be a good book regardless. That's my shoe haul and my book haul. Now I'm gonna go do my chest and tries workout and then go do my 4-mile run. I'm so nervous for it just because I haven't done it in a while, but hopefully it'll be something good to get back into. Hopefully these shoes are good because I mean, I'm getting back into running and wearing new shoes for the first time going back, so I guess that could go one of two ways, hopefully the good way. At this point in the day, it's about 2 hours until my video that's posting today uploads, so it's kind of exciting. I always look forward to the videos that I work so hard on being like put out into the world and for other people to watch them, so 3 p.m. on Sundays are always big events for me. The feeling of being like showered after a run is the best part of a run. The run went probably just about the same that I expected it to. As you can tell, my face is so pink right now. I think some things that my body forgot how to do was regulate temperature. I sweated more, I think, on this run than I did like in mid-July whenever I was running in like 95-degree heat. Like it felt just as hot to me even though it was like 80 today. So it's still definitely hot, but not the same as it used to be. My pace was around the same, which I was kind of surprised about, but it definitely was harder to maintain that pace. Like my lungs were working harder to stay at that pace than they did back in August before I took my break. And then the thing that I most noticed was that my feet really hurt on that run. And part of that could be the fact that like that was those shoes first time running ever. Like I don't know if they need broken in. I just haven't found like, you know, the tightness to lace them, like that kind of thing. Those shoes aren't shaped to my feet yet. And it also partly could be that my feet aren't used to that pounding impact like they used to be. So several things going in there, but mentally, just like the mental clarity that I feel like I get during runs, I kind of forgot about. Well, I didn't forget about, but I guess I forgot like how nice it feels. It's like I said before, I don't regret taking a break because I think it was really good to have taken a break after running that half marathon, but maybe I shouldn't have like quit cold turkey because running definitely does have so many perks, a lot of which being like mental perks, benefits, and I just like totally took that away from myself all of a sudden because I didn't want to run anymore. Like it wasn't, you know, there was a lot going into that, but I do feel good to have done that. I don't know what my goal is, maybe like 2 to 3 runs a week, like 1 run in the weekend, definitely run Wednesdays at Run Club, and then maybe 1 more for right now. Maybe that's my goal. We'll see though, because I'm not sure. I still need to go get groceries today. Sometimes I have a better system whenever I'm planning recipes. I think I showed you like the little notes thing that I have right now, but right now I just have in my notes app on my phone a recipe for each day of the week, and I just have listed under it the ingredients and then the steps of like how to make it, and then this is the note that I'll just go back to every night whenever I'm preparing food. But I have on a different note than my grocery list, which I kind of just go through the note that has all the recipes, add up everything, combine like things, you know, and then before going grocery shopping I'll go and like look in our fridge and look in our pantry to see what we have so I can take that off the list of everything that I need. But before going grocery shopping today, I'm gonna I want to blow dry my hair, and I want it to like dry itself. Usually it's like probably like 80% of the way, like air dry 80%, and then I'll blow dry the rest because my hair takes forever to blow dry. If I do it like how it is now, it would take so long to blow dry it to where it's not really worth it. So what I'm going to sit down and do in the time now while I wait is plan the week. For planning weeks, I think I've talked about this before, but it maybe was like a year ago. This was something I used a lot during school, and then it's kind of continued now, but in my head I kind of use the rock, pebble, sand method, which if there's imagery for it that I can find, I'll put it up on the screen. But I'll start out with my week and put in the rocks, which are like the big things, the non-negotiables, like what's happening this week. So for now, for me, that is work. All the days that I go into work, those are rocks, like they're going to fit in the jar. And then some like scheduled things that I have. So for instance, this upcoming week, therapy is going to be a rock because it's scheduled. I have the appointment, I have to go. And then anything else like that is what is the rock. And then after the rocks are in, it could kind of look like the week is full. You know, you fill your jar up with rocks, but you put in the pebbles, which kind of just fit in around the rocks. Pebbles are things that still have to be done, but aren't like the set, scheduled, strict things like the rocks are. So for me this week, that might be like run club on Wednesday, depending on your mindset around working out. Like that could be workouts. Workouts could be the sand that we're about to talk out, but workouts could be the pebbles that need to fit in. It could be things like making dinner, like you know it's gonna happen, it fits in, so you just fit it in, you know? Or things that are scheduled but that like you're choosing to do. You know, like if you had like a coffee date with a friend or something like that, that could be a pebble that you're putting in. And then again, it looks like our jar is full, but you like then pour in the sand, which are the little things that are flexible but just like good. I think I usually think of sand as like fun kind of self-care things. So whether it's like, okay, look, like I get to read for this chunk of time on this night, or this is the perfect time to fit in like stretching because I want to do that, or like maybe I should go for a walk during this time. Kind of being purposeful, planning out like those habits, because I think it's easy to look at your full-time week or full-time school and think like, oh, I don't have time to do anything, like I'm so booked. And like while that can be true, there still are those like little chunks of time that I'm not saying like fill up to make yourself so scheduled. Like you can schedule rest, like that's fine. Like schedule couch time, that's sand. But having the mindset of like putting in the big things, and then some of the medium things can still fit, and then the little things can still fill in, I think has helped me realize like those little chunks of time I have and try to make a week look good. All of that being said, I have not been doing this well lately, so I'm gonna try this week. We'll see. Zach's making dinner and I just put away all the groceries. I went to Target first, and that was a pickup order that I made like yesterday, I think. And it was just various cleaning items that the grocery stores we go to don't always carry. So there's just a few things that we were like running out of or about to run out of that I figured would put all in one order. So got like laundry detergent, which I really been loving. The laundry detergent that we got whenever we moved in here. So I got the same one of that. Got dish detergent, tried out a new brand, because I think we always get the same dish detergent, like dishwasher detergent. And I think it's just because it's the one we got, and so then we always get it. So I was like, might as well try out something different, see if we like it better or worse or anything. Got like dishwasher cleaner, got deodorant, got a big thing of white vinegar for laundry. So just lots of cleaning stuff in the Target haul. And then went to Aldi and got most things there. I was so close to not having to make a secondary grocery trip. If you go to Aldi, you know that lots of times you have to run to a second grocery store if you have like a specific list you're coming in with. If I went into Aldi with not a list and just like brainstorm on the spot dinners, I think you can make it work, and I think you could get everything at Aldi. Whenever you find things at Aldi, the total is so much cheaper than going anywhere else. I feel like just always, like their produce is cheaper, the canned stuff is cheaper, meat is cheaper, everything, but it doesn't always have like name brands that you know, and then also it doesn't always like have everything. For instance, today it didn't have green onions, and I was like, well, I kind of really want green onions. So I was super close to not having to make a second grocery trip, but I did end up having to stop at Publix on the way back home, and so while I was there, got some cannolis. Figured I'd dig into them now. I think I'm gonna work on my puzzle a little bit more because I haven't today. Put Gilmore Girls back on because I have watched, like when I say yesterday, that is all I did. I think I'm on episode 16 now of season 1 of Gilmore Girls from this rewatch, and I started at episode 1 yesterday. So that's that. All I have left is going upstairs, getting a little start on my book, I think, and chilling until we wake up tomorrow and start another work week. Thanks for being here for this one, for this little weekend. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. See you in the next one. Wait, that's not what I say. See you next time? Does that sound? See you next time.